this is stream number 2, and I am going to cover print statements again, and then we're gonna take off from there, and then we're gonna get to the next section of this, right? The reason where we're doing this is because programming is cool. We want to make as many programmers as we can. We are having trouble with that, as you guys know. Our CS programs don't have enough recruits in them, and the sheer volume that we need is just not there, right? This is something that doesn't need a degree. You can make a 6-figure income if you can solve problems on computers for companies. They will pay you. You just have to have an American passport or driver's license. You have to be from this country, and you have those jobs in excess and surplus 6-figure jobs. What does that translate to? That translates to family life. That translates to being able to pay a mortgage, get a house, get a car, be able to operate in general in life. You can do that by doing this. This is a excellent way to go forward. I think there are obviously other ways to make money. This is a learned skill that you can learn. All I'm asking for is a half an hour for the next 30 days every day. I will be online at 8:30. I'm willing to pair program with anybody. I'm already in the industry, and I see the kind of shortages that we have, and I feel that we can meet them, right? And the advantage that your generation, Gen Zers, have over every other past generation is that they grew up with technology. You guys know technology, the UI, the movement, fundamentally on a very instinctive level. That is really a great thing, and to not take advantage of that is foolhardy, in my opinion. Especially when you can achieve so much with it, right? Anyways, so with all of that being said, let me get my little stopwatch thing on, so that I know where I am. I think I remember how to start the chat over here. Give me a second to make sure. I think this is pulling up stream information right now. Again, so right now, if you look over here, I don't know what happened. I'm trying to pull this thing down. This thing up there. Sorry about that. Silly program that moved with the and it's not responding yet again. Okay. We're looking at where we are right now. This is the stuff in the directory, the present working directory. We're in Python basics. We're gonna go out really quick. right? We're gonna activate our environment, which is Pybase. We're gonna hit that. We're gonna go to activate, and this is how you activate it. So you can still V and V. We're gonna do a pip list. So it tells us what inbuilt external libraries we have in the virtual environment in our interpreter when it decides to show up on the screen. I'm gonna open a new terminal just because it's not responding the way I want it to respond. Right. So I open a new tab, of course, and as I did that, this worked. So anyways, so this is the pip list. You can see pimp and setup tools, right? So if there are any external libraries that you want to download off the internet, you can download them, and that package will get installed into the interpreter right here. Another way to install the, now if you want to get that interpreter to run this code, right? How do you make that connection, right? You hit Command Shift P, right, on the IDE right here, right, and it says select Python interpreter. If I would not click off it, would show, there it is again. Command Shift P, hit Command Shift P, click on VS Code, click on Command Shift P on your computer. There should be another interpreter way to get there if you're on a Windows computer. So you select the interpreter. It gives you an option to enter the interpreter path. You hit find, and just like I had the VENV on the right inside Java public lambdas or whatever, that's the same thing that you're gonna see over here. It's gonna give you a pop-up, right? And then with that pop-up, you're gonna be able to select whatever. Right? So let's get there. While this is happening, I'm gonna try and get there is the follow, of course. Like the moment I try and do something, there it is. Okay, yippee! So we go into Python Pybase VENV. That is the same as what's in the right terminal, right? And I know this is a little basic right now, but it's going to take off a little bit. We're actually going to get into the nuts and bolts of programming soon, but you have to do all this environmental setup. And this is what was promised, right? To set up Python on your computer. This is how you set Python up in VS Code, right? It says select interpreter, right? So you're going to click on select interpreter. It's going to select your interpreter. The interpreter is run. What that allows you to do is you see this little run button right here in the top right corner, this little play button right here. If you click on that play button, it automatically is going to run day01.py. And what's going to happen is on the console, it's going to generate a console and it's going to run on the shell. It's a terminal, right? And in the terminal, it's going to use the executable Python interpreter that you selected with Command Shift P, and it's going to run that. It's going to use that executable to execute this day01.py file. It's a Python file. It's going to execute it, right? It's going to run it, and it's going to give you this output on the screen. It's going to say hello world, and there's going to be a line behind underneath it, and then it's going to print out, this is the first print statement, or what have you, right? That's what this console should say instead of an error, right? Come on, silly computer. There it goes. I've upgraded my stuff, right, to be able to handle this, but I don't know what it's doing. And you can see that it printed out hello world with the 3 exclamation marks and a print statement. Now, syntactically, in this file, if you put an error, right? So if you don't put in, if you put in the print statement, for example, right, but don't put anything inside it, and like don't put the quotes or something, and just put a syntax error like that, and you save it, right, and you try and run the code again, it's gonna give you an error basically, right? You hit the up button and hit enter, and it says line 5, print blah 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 what the error is, right? It says name error print, right? So how can you correct that? By using the correct syntax, my dear friends. And how can you put this into a string, right? So you put a round bracket, put a double quotation, hit the end, put another quotation, put this round bracket right there. Not this smiley face. Delete that colon right there. So okay, so now you see this is a print statement. It's printing a string, but it's a number, right? And you see this little dot right here. This dot will go away if you hit Command S. If you save the file, it saves it. Okay. And if you hit the run button again right there, right next to it, it should run the file, right? And it should give you this output. It should give you the hello, and it should give you this, and gives you fundamentals, and then it gives you this number 68485. And if you hit the word, if you type the word type, why is it giving you squiggly? Because you've not closed the brackets, right? You close the extra bracket. Now the brackets are closed. It says now if you print this out, it should run the code, and line number 5 it should type out string, class string, because what's happened is we've typed we have encapsulated our string inside a type function, and it is rendering what type of line or object 68465 is. It is a string. If you remove the quotes, right? So if you went in and removed the quotes, this is a number, actually, right now. So if you run it again, it's going to say type string, and underneath it, it's going to say type integer or type float. Like, that's what it should say. It should say, hey man, this is a number, and that's what it says. If you look at it, it says type int. I don't know if you see it. You should be able to see it. I might give it a bit bigger. And if somebody views this stream later on and for some reason you can't see the code or whatever, just let me know, man, that it's too big or not big enough or whatever, you can't see it, so I will make it bigger so that you're able to see it properly, right? So I'm gonna make it as big as possible. That's really big. If you can't see that, you need glasses. Well, we don't want that like that, because then we can't see the terminal properly. We want to be able to see our terminal a little bit more. We can also close this terminal, and we can work out of the terminal up here on the right? So we can do that. Let's do that. So let's go over here a little bit. All right. So how do we run this file on the left, right? Look at where we are. Let's see if, okay, and because of my picture, you can't see the console, so let's move this thing over here a little bit. Can you see it now? No, you can't see it because I can't see it. Better. Okay. Okay, awesome. So what is our present working directory? We're here. We're gonna cd into the Pi Basics. Python basics. We see that the file that is the day1 file, it's over there. So what we do is we type in the word Python, which is the interpreter, and it says, hey interpreter, run the day file, right? So we do Python space file name and hit enter, and it's gonna run the file. It's gonna say class int string, hello world, the line, everything that you're seeing on the left is being printed out on the console on the right, like that manually by the terminal instead of hitting the run button. Or using the interpreter. So you guys know how to set up the interpreter now, and you've been able to, okay, so now if you do this and you give another print statement, you should be able to see that other line there too. Now you can see the second line too, right? So now let's try and print an integer, right? So let's go over here and let's say print int. Save the file. That little command S saves that thing, right? Then you go over here, you run the code, right? You run it right there. So now this is interesting, right? See, why is it not printing out everything past the decimal? Because it's just coded to just pass the integer number to the console. If you want to pass anything past the digit, right, a decimal, you have to convert it into a float. Python by default, if you give a decimal, converts the number automatically, intelligently, Pythonically to an integer. So if you take this exact same thing and in the next line you commented, right, or what we can do is let's just copy it. Let me demonstrate that really quick. Right, so let's go over here and remove int. So we remove int, right? And then we're gonna try and print it, and you're gonna see that it should print out the whole thing right underneath it. It does. And if you say, hey, well, what is this thing, right? Instead of calling it int, what we can do is we can replace int with the word type, like we're using on top, right? Like we're using on 5, and why there is extra space. It's not running the file because, why did it not run the file? Because I fat fingered it and I hit DAY2 Python 3. Do you see the 3 at the end? And I hit up again, it screws it up and puts that thing there again. So do Python tab day tab, run the file. Run the file, computer, and there it is. It's a type float, right? Okay, so now we've done strings, integers, floats. This was all the stuff that I was supposed to cover yesterday anyways with you guys. Give me a second. I gotta check it on. What does it say over here? I promise when I do this, like when the streaming software is off, the computer's like super fast. It's got like 32 gigs of RAM and stuff. It's like fast as all hell. Uh, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to check what exactly I will have to cover for our second day, and I think I've covered it, but I want to create. Okay, there we go. Day 2 is variables of data types, strings, integers, force, and booleans. Okay, so let's create a new file, and we'll call it day2.py. We're gonna call it that. Why did I type in the wrong place? ID. Day2.py. Okay, that's your second file, right? So what's a boolean? A boolean is an equal to statement. So I a boolean should give you a true or a false output, basically, right? One second. I'm checking something. I want to give the right example, right? And I don't want to overstretch us and put us into if statements or control flow statements, because control flow statements still need to come later. So in the meantime, while that is happening, let's quickly go back over here and let's look at how the rest of the file, right? So and we're almost at time, so we want to quickly cover this because this is important. This leads into control flow, and we need to be able to do control flow in order to manage our flow of our programs, right, later on. So why do you need this? Basically, you need this because if you need to check something with the program, you want the program to be able to go ahead and deal with that for us, right? So we absolutely need that control flow. But we want to first just look at Boolean as a data type, right? So let's look at flows really quick again, right? So we have this number right here, right? Let's uncomment this. So you see what num is, right? So if you wanted to see what print num is, you just do print bracket and num. Save the file, Command S, go over here into your console. Python day 1, there you go, and that should print out what number is, right? So you can, if you see the dot, Command S, saved, and Command A does everything, selects everything. So we don't want that. So it's saved, run the file, it gives you only one line printout. Do you see that? Gives you just a number or whatever, what the Boolean is. Now what happens is, if you want to go to 2 decimal places, right? look at what I have on the screen. What I have on the screen basically is a number, which is a float number, because it had all this after decimal spots. And now if you want to say 651.561.65, right? If you want to see the .65 after it or whatever, just put the .2f and you can see that. There is a limit on this. Like if you start dealing with numbers that are really big, and if you start encountering a lot of zeros later on in the decibels, Python doesn't really deal with them well, because computers have a hard time dealing with binaries that are zeros. They have no intrinsic values anyway, so they're none, and they have to convert them into zeros. So converting a zero into zero when it's got no value, and keeping track of that even for a machine is difficult, you know, let alone a person. So that's the story there, right? So let's run the code again, and you see the entire output. The value of my float with 2 decimal places is 651,561.65, decimal 65, 0.65. Okay. Now let's go to a Boolean, right? So what is a Boolean? We're gonna try and understand what a Boolean is. Think of a Boolean as like a way of like saying yes or no to something, right? Do you like pizza? Yes or no? So if you're person A likes pizza, person B doesn't like pizza, you can tell your program, hey, one guy likes pizza and the other guy likes cheesecake, so be cool enough and go order a pizza and cheesecake, and you can make the program do that, right, indefinitely. So it can do that for you all the time if you instruct it to do so. And you can instruct yes and no with Booleans. Let's see if we can go here really quick, or we don't even do it there. We just go to the second file. Forget that. Don't open that. Just type over here. Okay. So let's say A is equal to 1,050, right? And then B is equal to 2,050, and C is equal to a string. Pizza, right? So we go over here and we say print this is the index. I don't know why it opened the index up. Okay, so print A. Wait, I just comment this. We're going to save the file. We're going to go over here. We're going to say, hey, Python, please go and run day 2 for us, right? So what it's saying is that the types are A is an integer and B is a string. C is a string. So B is a string and A is whatever, right? So now, how do you deal with Booleans, right? What is a Boolean? So that's a Boolean right there, right? So you say is A greater than B? A greater than B, right? And we say, and we call that value. So we typecast this thing to value, right? So we go to end, and then we go up here, we take this, we paste it, and we uncomment it, and we type in here, and we say, type in value. Say, hey, print value, right? Print the word value for me, or val. It says it gives you a squiggly because it doesn't know what val is. So we go over here and we make it val. Okay, so print val. Look, I'm doing a print statement. I'm going to put a string in, right? What is the string they're going to be? Is A greater than B? Is the value of A greater than B? Look at that code for a second. We're probably not going to revisit this Boolean basic later, right? But understanding it is going to help you later with your if-else statements and elif statements, right? Because we're going to start putting conditions in the syntactical function of the program and use these kind of Boolean checks to go true and false, and that's how you control the flow of the program, right? Depending on an external value. So the value that's being passed into the program is the value of A and B. And we are saying, hey, is the value of A greater than B? No, it's not. False, dude. It's 1050 is not bigger than 2050. This computer should tell us that. It should say false. False, my dude. False, right? So, is the value of A greater than B? False, right? So, val 2, is B greater than A? There's no equal to, so it's going crazy, right? Is the value of, oh wait, I'm missing an E. The value of B greater than the value of A? Yes. Hello. Is the value of B greater than A? 2050 greater than 1000? Yes. Now what if it's equal? Right? So if I create a value D, D is equal to 2050 as well, right? So both of these values are the same, right? So if you print B is not equal to, so not equal to, that's the shebang equals to, B is not equal to D. Is B not equal to the Is B not equal? No, obviously it's equal, right? So what we did is, what is not equal? It is an object. That's an object. And what we're doing is we're trying to run it over here, right? We have to. Why is it not going to run? Because the file's not saved, right? Because this little dot thing over here. So Command S, just save the file. Let's run it. Okay. So if B is not equal to the value of D, false, because it is equal, right? So we just do a print statement and we go B is equal to D. It in fact is. So after this false statement, you should see another statement over here that says true. There it is, true. Okay, so we've covered booleans. Not equal to, true and false. Yes, no, is it equal to, is it not equal to? Is it greater than, is it less than? Greater than equal to or less than equal to? That also is like, is A greater than equal to B, right? So A and B are not like that, but B and C are, right? So B is greater than equal to. So if it was greater than equal to and is true, because it is the same value it's equal to, it'll flow in the control flow of things, right? So that's it. All right. We're at time. I'm online for another 10 minutes to chat with people. So if anyone wants to talk, now's the time. I'm going to reset the docs so that I have access to the chat and anybody can chat. And if there's nobody there and if I don't get any messages, I'll just kill the stream because I've pretty much had enough. And we're going to do it again for an hour tomorrow. While this happens, what I can do is I can push the code up to the repository, right? So let's do that too. So you do type in the command git status to see what's going on with your files, right? To hit the git command, the add dot command, git add dot or whatever. Git status, it gives you these two files that are going to get added, whatever updates were in your VS Code. This is a version control system, and the code gets pushed up to GitHub for public viewing. As you people, everybody has access to this repo, right? So I've just set some permissions, and then I'll be able to push it. So I should set that up. I'll be trying to do stuff live. You have problems. But I wouldn't be programming if you didn't have any errors, man. If it was smooth, right? 2 more minutes. There you go. Learn something. So we'll be back online tomorrow again for day 3, and we will be covering the next topic in our lineup. See you then. Thanks. Bye.